Welcome to the She Build Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Build Show. I want to introduce Chase Carr. She is an up-and-coming designer who focuses on drafting, design, and rendering. She's a motivated entrepreneur who just created her new business, Carr Designs, and I'm totally in love with her work and her fearlessness to step into this business. Welcome to the show, Chase.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So we're trying to feature women in interior design in October, and I just love that you reached out to me, and I wanted to just kind of kickstart your business and get people to know about you. So that was kind of, I want to learn more about you. I want the people that listen to this show to learn more about you. So just tell me about your journey to launching your business. Just walk me through it.
Yeah. So I went to school for a long time. I started out in architecture school, and I quickly found out that architects rarely have the time to do the fun stuff like materials and finishes. So when I moved back to Chico, I got my drafting degree at Butte College. And then I recently finished my interior architecture degree at Chico State back in May. And so that's when I started my portfolio of all my schoolwork, and I continue to add to it and update it. And while going to school, I had a lot of experience with a handful of people in the industry. And it really helped me understand like all the different processes and what like was missing in Chico. So I found my niche in being a rendering artist and designer. That's when I decided to go on and do my own thing doing that.
That's awesome. So when you say like you found your niche, sorry, I just kind of like sometimes go off on a little tangent. So when you say you found your niche, like what did you see as like missing from the industry when you were in school? Because like I see what's missing from my perspective from being a builder and the people I work with, but like what did you really see was missing?
A lot more hands-on things with the clients, like the mood boards and the 3D renderings, like photos of the end design. And here in Chico, like it's just too expensive for the clients. And a lot of people in Chico don't have the software or computer to do it. So I just kind of wanted to offer that to Chico residents. Like we do it all the time in class. So I thought, why not?
Right. Because like if you think about it, most people can't really picture what their house and what the layout of their space is going to be from a 2D floor plan. Right?
Exactly.
And so did they teach you in school that like most people don't have that ability? So we need to give something to them where they can actually walk through it in a 3D space and picture their furniture there and their colors, just kind of being like an all-encompassing service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I totally think we need that. So for as young as you are, when I met you, I could tell you're pretty feisty. Know about feisty, but maybe very intentional, very hardworking. And do you have like a morning routine? I'm always just curious about people that are kind of put together this similar way as I am. Like, do you have something that works for you every day?
Yeah, so I'm like a big early bird person. I wake up and I try not to look at my phone for as long as possible, and I journal. Then the rest of the day is kind of a free-for-all. I'm still getting used to making my own schedule, not being in school and having like my schedule worked out for me. So I spend a lot of time on myself in the morning and like preparing and feeling good about it.
That's awesome. I journal too. I've journaled for as long as I can remember because I don't know about you, but like just being introverted, I don't know if you are, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely.
That it just really helps me process my emotions and process what's going on the inside, because if I don't have, because I'm not one to go to talk to somebody about it, but to be able to, process, I think it's such a healthy way to deal with what's going on the inside if you're not somebody who generally reaches out to people for support or comfort.
Exactly. Yep.
I know. I agree. I think like the worst decision I ever made in my life was like, I packed up to move to Colorado and I threw away like 10 of my journals.
Oh.
Don't ever do that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like cleansing or if it was, like now I'm just sad about it, but okay. So
it's fun to go back and read them.
Right. And see like, and sometimes I like you listen to your own advice, you're going, because I feel like life is so circular. If you haven't learned something completely, you always end up kind of in the same circumstances, in the same spot, learning the same thing over. And, going back and reading them, it's like, oh, right, that's what happened last time. And this is, I've come a little bit further and this is how I can deal with it. But I think recording your thoughts is such a beautiful way. And then someday, girl, you can make it into a book. Just saying.
Exactly.
So just tell me why this industry? I know that because we chatted earlier and she has this other business that has to do with skin and hair products, right?
Yeah.
Why interior design, architecture, rendering? Why that industry? What drew you to that?
So I'm always been a creative person. And in high school, I prevailed in art and science. And then once I got out of high school, I kind of realized architecture is a mixture of art and science and a really applicable art. And I was always inspired by my dad, who was a driller, and he always taught me how to draft every time I wanted to rearrange my room with grids and the squares on the grid. I always loved doing the site visits with my dad. I love seeing the whole process and being outside and all the fun stuff that they do out there and hard stuff.
Right.
And then lastly, I really like the end result, how you literally make something out of nothing. And you really get to physically experience the space once it's completed.
So have you, in school, did you guys get to actually see anything come to fruition? Have you got to see anything that you've drawn be built yet? Have you gotten to that place yet?
We've made a lot of models. We made a chair and we would make it a real life-size chair and stuff like that. But that's probably it. Just the models and the miniature things we made. Right.
I can't wait for you to see something that you've created and you put onto paper, and then to actually walk through it and to see it being built. It's so fulfilling. And because all of the things that you spend so much time and putting so much effort into to make this space work for other people, and then to actually see them move in and get to experience it. I can't wait for you to be there.
Yeah, me too.
So if you could I always like to ask people, because I really want to draw people to really do the things that they feel called to do, that doesn't necessarily feel like work to them. So if you could wake up every day and absolutely love what you do you know what that would look like for you?
That's kind of a tough one for me. I really like creating the spaces and doing the creative part of the job. Site visits and traveling are always fun and inspirational. So I would love to travel and get inspired by other architecture and then come back and see what I could do with it. And then also shopping is really fun, going into a furniture store and finding the perfect piece that a client might like, or going to the granite store and seeing all the really cool, unique pieces of granite and quartz and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why there's, I want to encourage so many more women to consider this industry, because it's just because we are so complex as women, that this industry really allows for the complexity and to kind of meet that need of, okay, some days I really get to be creative and design and make beautiful things. And other days I get to sit at my desk and, just work on something a little bit more mathematic or more detail oriented, and then go back to being creative, and then go out to the site visit. And, if you like to get your hands dirty, there's that ability too. I just love the complexity of it, that there's not a single day that really has to look all that boring or all the same.
Exactly.
So who's your ideal client?
I'd say my ideal client is someone who's not afraid to be bold and go out of their comfort zone and try new things.
Do you like color? What's your style?
Personally, I'm more of a minimalist and I don't do a lot of color. I'm not really comfortable with it, but I'm really trying to get out of my comfort zone with that. I follow other people who do a really good job with bold, rich colors and mixing materials and patterns. And I really, really like that. And I'm trying to be more of a color girl, I guess.
The first house I had, I knew nothing. It was the first house that I bought to live in, and I knew nothing about anything. I was pretty young, and I painted my entire kitchen orange, all the walls orange. And I did these, they look like, those popsicles, orange.
The creamsicles.
Yeah, that's what my kitchen looked like. But everybody loved it. It totally worked in the space. It was the cutest little house, and it was a small amount of orange, but The color just worked and it popped and it bounced off like the beautiful hardwood floors. And like, even though I knew nothing about it, the color totally worked. I don't think I'd paint my kitchen orange today, but maybe a front door or something. But I just remember like, what was I thinking? Painting that whole kitchen orange? I don't know. Okay. So rendering, like to me, when I think of rendering, I think of, ginormous apartment complex buildings or huge subdivisions where, these top builders have paid big money for you to be able to see some very large scale idea, right? You don't generally see it for, just somebody doing a remodel. So just explain rendering and like how, because we mentioned, you touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but like explain rendering and like why you think it's important and like the service that you provide to help people.
Yeah, so a rendering is essentially just a three-dimensional image, and it can also be an animation showing the attributes of the proposed design. And it really helps the designer communicate their ideas to the client, and the client can really visualize the design much easier, and there's a lot less room for unwanted surprises in the end. Mm-hmm. So it really helps actually save some money, and it helps hours on the designer as well, to know exactly what they want and what they don't want color-wise or material-wise. And then also renderings, you can see like what things will look like in a certain lighting, like natural light or ambient light or task lighting, and they can like really decide what they want and what works for them.
Rendering, like it's come so far. Like it used to just look so fake and terrible and not helpful. And I feel like the system and softwares that are available now are more accessible to people like you because maybe they're not so expensive to purchase that software, but then it also just gives this better product. And I love the fact that even that you're really trying to make it affordable for people to use rendering, because I 100% agree that if a client like that's just doing a simple kitchen remodel, most of the time they're really overwhelmed by all of the decisions. Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to, the traditional interior designer is going to go in with all their swatches as things are being, brought along during the construction phase. But I like the fact that it's like, let's get everything out in the open before anything even starts. And let's see what it actually looks like without having to have it created in front of you, actually being built. So you can try on, the blue paint color on the cabinets. You can try on the wall color, the countertop color, and really visualize. What do you charge for rendering right now?
Rendering, I charge $35 for the 3D modeling process, which takes probably about an average of 10 hours. And then the rendering process is a lot shorter. It probably takes 2 or 3 hours, and I charge $45.
Okay, so it's per hour, right? 35 to 45. So I just have to say, like, that's an incredible price to be able to have something and to save money and to be able to picture it. So if you're somebody that can't picture what your possible remodel might look like, I think, considering Chase and having it rendered is such a good solution, because you really get to see what everything's going to look like and change your mind ahead of time, not after materials are in. And you'll make contractors so much happier.
Yeah. And another thing, our swatches are so small, and the pattern is a lot different when it's like 2 inches by 2 inches than when it's like covering a whole wall or a whole piece of furniture.
And I think it gives you more time. Sometimes people feel pressured and rushed, when you have a contractor that may not encourage you to work with a designer. So nothing was kind of given a lot of forethought. I run into a lot of people that, end up, okay, the contractor said, go pick out my countertops, and they have to we need them tomorrow or in 3 days. And there's not a lot of forethought. So then you're picking piece by piece by piece, and you're not considering the entire project together. And so if this is done beforehand, you can order the materials, feel comfortable, know what it's going to look like, change your mind if need be, and then move forward with it without ever affecting construction. I love it.
Yeah.
What's your biggest, starting a business is hard. It's not easy. Just share with me, what do you think your biggest struggle is right now?
Right now, I'd say my biggest struggle is staying with my schedule and being organized. Like I said, being in school, it took up 99% of my life. So I always had a schedule to follow, and my days were jam-packed with classes, appointments, and homework. And now it's kind of just all up to me to fill my day and keep it organized. So it's kind of a new thing for me right now.
Right. Going from somebody else telling you what to do to having to decide on your own, like what's the most effective use of my time.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm reading a book right now. It's called Atomic Habits. Have you read that?
I haven't. I'm writing that down.
Okay. You should read it because it's really about that goals and having outcome-based goals where it's like, oh, okay, I want to run a marathon. And most people that run a marathon after the marathon, they stop running because there's no more goal versus actually going back and creating systems for yourself that lead you to become the person you want to be and live the life you want to live. And so you change your systems about how you do things versus like set these goals that, end up you reach them and then you turn off and, you don't eat the good food anymore because you did the thing or you know what I mean? So it really makes you create these systems and the choices that you make every day to come from the inside out versus the outside in. It's really good. I just started it. So check it out. I think that might help you.
Definitely. That sounds great.
Yes. Okay. And maybe just share with me, what's your greatest success so far? What are you really proud of? Because I can tell you're a super motivated, probably somebody who doesn't give yourself a lot of credit and maybe skips over the things that you achieved and just on to the next thing. And sometimes we don't recognize that we've just totally kicked butt at some stuff. And I just want to recognize what successes have you accomplished, because you're a young gal and I'm sure you've probably accomplished a lot more than other people your age. So give yourself some credit. What are you really proud of?
One thing I'm really proud of is sticking with school for as long as I did. It was really tough, and being in the Bay Area and going to school was really tough. And I stuck through it, and I ended up being at the top of my class when I graduated.
I knew it. I know who you are. I get you.
I was really proud of that. And then I'm really proud of being in this industry where it's usually mainly ran by men, and it's really tough on a woman. And the things the men say is really disheartening and discouraging. And I'm just ready to
not have it be that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know what? And that's why I'm here, is because there's more of us than you think. And we just need to keep finding each other and rally around each other, because the industry will change the more we can kind of link arms with one another and support each other. And that's when you reach out to me, I'm like, heck yeah, we're going to talk. Heck yeah, we're going to communicate, because the more women we can get to come and provide a beautiful service and not in putting men down or making them feel like we're better than them. That's not the case. It's just, we need diversity in every industry, and we offer something different, right? We offer the ability to build something and consider the way you live in it and the way you feel in it and the way it looks. And I just love that you're trying to do that, and you will.
Right. Thank you.
I'm proud of you, and good job. I'm sure school was hard. School was hard for me too. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do really well, and I'm sure you did too. It's tough. Okay. So do you have, I guess you could have taken two roads, right? You could have just went out and got a job, right? Somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Or you could have started your own business. Why did you go the start your own business route?
I don't know. I'm kind of an independent person. I love working with people, but I really love working independently and being a leader. And it just really works for me, and deciding what I want to do and how I want to do it and when I want to do it.
Right. Yeah. I don't do well with people telling me what to do, is what it comes down to. Okay. So do you have any advice? Because I know this is not the first business you've started, but you have some, quite a bit of experience under your belt already, but what would be maybe advice that you could give to somebody that is considering starting their own business? And possibly in this industry, within the architectural design, what would be the advice you would give? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'd say just go for it. It can be really hard and you're going to want to quit. You just can't give up. On average, for a new business, it takes at least 2 years to see any success. So don't get discouraged and just keep going. It'll eventually be successful.
Right. I think networking and doing what you're doing, the way Chase and I met, she just sent me an email. And you know what? That's how I've met like the women that are successful in the industry that, like I wanted to go find other women that were contractors and I reached out to them too. So I think that that's just like such a beautiful, and the people that I reached out to opened their arms to me. And so I think it's like the gift keeps on giving. When you reach out to me, it's like, of course I'll meet with you. Of course I want to talk to you. Of course I want to encourage you. And just like when you're successful and you're doing well in this business and women come to you, it's like, yes, of course, arms open. I want to talk to you. I want to encourage you. I want to be a mentor to you. So I think that that's beautiful advice. And yes, I agree with the 2 years. It's hard. And I think to have a support system during those 2 years, to have some savings in the bank so you don't feel extremely strapped if work hasn't come in. And I think to stick with it is absolutely something you have to be able to fare the bad weather and move through it, even if it's going through a hard season, because it's worth it. Sometimes I get so frustrated and mad. And sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to apply for a job and I'm just going to go get a job. Then I think like, oh man, I won't be able to pick my kids up from school, or I'll have to like apply for vacation time. And then I just am like, oh man, I'll just keep paying for my health insurance. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work for somebody else. It's a hard choice. The benefits and the health insurance for sure feels attractive at times.
Yeah. I believe in making the easy choices. Like if for me, going and getting a job or applying for a job is not an easy choice. And emailing somebody and trying to make connections and meeting people is a lot easier of a choice for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. The easy choice, right? And the one that feels, I kind of asked that similar question, like, is this going to bring me like more freedom or not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I want freedom in my life, financial freedom, freedom with the life that I live. And is it going to bring me more or less? I think that question too. It's kind of a similar question. Okay. So where can people find you if they want help with their remodel, their new build? They just want some interior design help. Where can they find you?
I have a website. It's ccarrdesign.com. And then I am also on Instagram. So anyone can give me a follow on there. It is also ccarr design. Give me a follow.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chase, for being here today and for just stepping out and being bold with the choices in your life. I'm extremely proud of you. And I'm here if you have questions along the way. I've already thought of like 2 projects to have you help me with. So I'll email you a couple of details on those. But thank you again so much. And if you guys need help, check out Chase Carr Designs.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Stefanie.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Build swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.